Hey, how's it going everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the long-awaited Play Arts Kai Arkham Origins Deathstroke. Now this figure, as many people may have predicted, is pretty darn good. It looks quite nice. It's a really nice looking figure. They did a lot of things really well. There's some new stuff going on. They fixed a lot of proportioning issues. I heard somebody say his legs are too big. He's got armor on his legs, people. They're gonna look big. That's just the way it is. Guys with muscular legs will have large legs when they have armor plating on top. It's fine. It's okay. Calm down. Not everything has to be exactly the way you imagined it. It looks really good, and it's been a little while since I played the game, but it seems to be quite accurate. You know, they do their little bit of stylized work as we've seen in the past. You know, the helmet, I think they might have exaggerated some of the curves and the, what's the word for the concave parts? I can't think of it, but you know, it's like a little extra sharp, like cheddar. It's just not quite exactly the same as we saw in the game, but goodness, it looks awesome. There's a lot of stuff that they did really well on this guy. He's standing almost perfectly up and down right now, so we can give a height comparison, not height comparison, height measurement, just about 10.5. So pretty good size. Not counting Batman's ears, I think they're about the same size. I didn't get that exact of a measurement, but it looks like it. Before we get into the figure, let's look at the accessories. He has two gripping hands. These are both just standard open hands, and that is so he can hold his sword, which is really well done. Let's focus. Nice shading throughout the blade. We've got this black back piece here, the little red lines throughout. Looks really good, and it's not flimsy either. It's got some good size to it, but doesn't feel too thick. So I like that, and it does fit into the scabbard, which I haven't really liked this scabbard design that they used for him in the game. It just looks, I don't know, too clunky, but that's neither here nor there since that's how it was in the game. The sword fits in it just fine. Looks good on him, so that's fine. It's just, for me, this scabbard's just a bit gaudy. We also have his staff, which is really well done. We've got the nice sculpt work and shading all the way through the two grips. Nicely sculpted and textured. We have the red lines there. Just looks really good, and again, it's not a flimsy piece of plastic. They did a good job with that. We also have his pistol. Let's get the arm out of the way there. The pistol, which does sometimes get in the way of this, or vice versa, goes into his little thigh holster. It's really soft plastic. They seem to be getting into the softer plastics or softer rubbers or vinyls for the figures, but in this case it works out. It holds the pistol really nicely. It fits in there well. And then we have the actual pistol to look at. We do have a stamp on the grip, but you probably won't be looking at that too much. Although since it goes in the holster like that, it would have been nice to have it on the other side. But it is well detailed and well painted. Anyway, we'll get to whether or not he can hold it in a second. And here we have his rifle, which I said looked like a toy on the smaller DC Universe scale one. I wasn't talking about the design of the rifle. I understand it's a real gun, or at least based on a real gun. I meant that that figure's gun had no detail at all. It looked really crappy. This one has a fair amount of detail. I think it could use a little bit more paint, but it still looks pretty nice. So that's fine. And then we have, I showed you the two gripping hands for the staff and the sword. We have, what, 5 more hands. So he's got a lot of hands. We have 3 open hands. So we have those two, which are just kind of like these style hands, jazz hands. We have the orange shading, orange armor on the top, and then the black palms. And then this hand, which looks like it's supposed to be the trigger finger hand. I don't know, looks awfully relaxed. We'll see how well he holds the guns in a second. I haven't tried it yet, so we'll do that together. And then we have the fist hands. Of course, we need fist hands. Now his hands, most of them are pretty loose on the right side. I don't know if that's just a fluke or what. They do, they're just a little bit too loose. That even so much so that when you put the staff in his hand, the weight will make it turn. So I wish that was a little firmer, a little stiffer. That might be okay for you guys. It's a little bit loose for me. Not a huge deal though. So let's test out this trigger finger hand here with the guns. We'll try the pistol first. Does it work? And it does. He does have to hold it at an angle though, kind of like some of the Marvel Legends. So that's not good. That's not very good at all. I don't care for that. And he doesn't hold it all that well. It's good enough, but definitely at an angle. That's not good. Let's put it on the wrist just to see. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I'm not wrong. He holds it at an angle. So it's going to be very hard for you to pose this guy with him pointing it forward without it looking like he's not being aggressive. Nobody's going to stand there holding the gun like that. You're going to see the arm to come straight out, and there goes the gun. Not in there very well. So it's not horrible. I guess it's not as crooked as it looks if you push it down, but it could. I think that could have been done a little bit better. Maybe I'm being a little bit picky there, but it's still, maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's not horrible, but I think it could have been better. Let's try this gun while we're here. Put it in. This gun, well, you can see what I can see. It doesn't really fit in his hand very well. So it's definitely going to have to be a two-hander for this guy, maybe, or for this gun. Maybe have him in more of a relaxed pose, like he's standing there and he's got the other hand, one of the open hands on. Let's just do it quickly. Let's put that one there. There that goes. Also, while I'm here, which that just reminded me, I have trouble replacing the hands on that left side. So the right side is too loose and this side doesn't seem to want to fit all the way on. You see how there's a gap there? That happens on all of them. I might be able to, well there, that one wiggled on. The other one didn't want to, so maybe it's not an issue. That's okay. This guy seems like he might have missed, they might have spent a little more time on Batman than him, which is a little surprising. That hand's a little narrow. Let's see. No, he can hold it well enough. It's not really ideal since it's really loose in that trigger hand, but it's not going to look too bad. So that's okay. Could be better, but it's okay. So I'm not going to complain about it too much. So that's it for the accessories. Let's put the pistol back in the holster. And we have the sword. No, we don't have the sword in the sheath. Let's put the sword in the sheath and get on with the review. So we have his banana, or bandana, if you like to use the right words, off the back of his head. Now, I don't think this is supposed to be such a drastically different color than the rest of the oranges. It's really dark compared to the other oranges. Not even close to the same. And then the blue, this blue is really blue compared to the rest of the blues. Even on the helmet, it's just really, they really stand out. So I don't know if that's okay or not. I don't know how I feel about the design for this. It seems a little extra long, and I don't know that I like all of those sculpted wrinkles. It's not bendable, and it's just stiff enough to hang awkwardly. It's not stiff enough to hang like it's blowing in the wind based on how you posed it. It just, I don't know, it looks a little bit weird unless you hang it straight down, I think. And even then, you see, it doesn't really want to hang. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about the bandana. It does have, I almost said banana again. It does have a ball hinge. It swivels in the head and back here, so you can move it around however you want to. But that also makes it look a little awkward since it sticks out so far. So it's not, I don't know, it's not as good as I think it could have been. It's just a little bit awkward for that bandana to not hang naturally. I'd almost rather it was sculpted to hang down the back and maybe have a blowing alternate one. It's a cheap enough thing to mold, so I don't know. I think it could have been a little bit better. But talking about the molds, we have really nice sculpts on the armor. We have what I assume are supposed to be shotgun shells there, whatever that is. I don't know, but the armor itself is just sculpted really well. Lots of little scratch marks and things. To all of you who said I put too many scratch marks on my anime Deathstroke, look at all of these scratch marks. They're everywhere, so take that. I'm just kidding, of course. But the armor is sculpted really well. The pouches and straps, everything looks really good. Even though the face is a little bit stylized, maybe they did a good job with it. You can see the eye inside. Looks awesome. Everything looks awesome. Paints are good. I like the way they did the metallics in kind of a glossier pearlescent paint, and then everything else is nice and flat. Looks good. So the articulation, the head, double ball peg up here, at least, oh no, that's right, this guy has a hinge here. So I'm not sure what's up with that. It's a hinge, kind of like a ball hinge really, but it's not. There's a peg that holds it down into the body, so that's where the swivel is. And then he has a hinge, actually. So that's new, and it actually works pretty well. I'm not complaining about that. I kind of like that design. His neck's a little skinny maybe, but once you get him posed, it's not too noticeable, so that's okay. He does have the traditional shoulder joints that most play arts have had for a long time. So we have the butterfly joint with a ball peg on top of that, and then the shoulder itself is a ball hinge. You can see the hinge in the armpit down there. This part is nice and soft, so it won't get in the way. This part is nice and soft, so it won't get in the way. And then we have our bicep swivel all the way down here out of the way. And it's fairly round, so no matter how you pose it, it's going to look okay. You don't get any swivel up here at all, so the shoulders are going to stay in place. I'm assuming they did that just because of the bulk of the shoulder armor, and that's okay. Looks fine. Standard elbow hinge, swivels at the top and the bottom. Full range of motion, pretty good, just better than 90 degrees. And then the wrists, standard wrists. We have double ball peg in the upper torso. Gives him a really good ab crunch. This isn't super soft, this is fairly hard, so that might get in the way a little bit. He leans back, he leans forward, he leans side to side. Full rotation, no problems there. This does get in the way a little bit, just be careful. And then we have the single ball peg for the lower torso. That leans really well in all directions and rotates, so that's good. This piece here is really soft and it just tucks in, so that it looks like everything's connected even though it's not. That's a really nice design choice, and it works really well on the figure, so that's good. Softer crotch piece, standard ratchet. This gets in the way obviously, but the legs have the full range of motion that you would expect. The pouches are just what's getting in the way. Same thing going forward. And then we do have a bit of a thigh swivel, not quite as much as we've seen in most of the Play Arts figures, but it is there. Then they got his knees fixed just like Batman. The knees look so much better on these guys, especially with the armor on top. Just really pleased that they fixed the knees. And then the ankle's the same as always, that ratcheted ball hinge. And then we have that same new toe joint. A little bit different design than Batman. The joint's a little far back. Most people's toes bend somewhere up here. So and it's not very stiff again, so I don't think I care for that toe joint. But the ankles do work really well. The figure is really good overall. It's just those few issues that I pointed out that I think, I don't know, they just kind of don't feel like they fit with the rest of the figure's quality. So some things to look for, but otherwise it's definitely a good figure, and I do have to recommend it. I love it. I think it's great, and I think you will at least like it too. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.